Currings, and welcome back to Old Ways Rising Farm. So this is, we're in the middle of March. We have an unseasonably spectacular day. One of those days in early spring when I can still see a pile of ice behind me, but it's 70 and I'm in shirt sleeves, right? So it is the sort of day where everybody wants to get out and do something. As you can see, I am batch filming multiple projects for the YouTube channel. So if you came for gardening but are interested in this flame hollow trough that I'm making, you can come check out this video as well. And it's great to get out on these sorts of days, and I would encourage you to get out on these sorts of days. I would encourage you to work in the garden on these sorts of days, but don't plant your seeds too early. It's also the sort of day that makes everybody want to jump the gun, okay? Don't jump the gun. It's a lie. It's not spring yet. There will be more freezing weather. Don't jump the gun. Now, what can you do? This sort of early spring is a good time to propagate some types of plants. And it's a great time to do cuttings. What I have in front of me is a bucket of red osier dogwood cuttings. Also sometimes called red willow, red twig dogwood, chinchasha. There's a lot of common names for this plant. And these start very easily from cutting, so I'm going to fill this plug tray with them. Now, there's quite a few plants that do start very easily from cuttings. All of the dogwoods start easily from cuttings. Forsythia starts easy from cuttings.
Willows.
Honeysuckles start easy from cutting. Willows start easy from cuttings. So there's lots of different plants you can work with. One thing that's kind of a tell for a lot of these shrubs, first of all, shrubs in general start easy from cuttings because it's part of how they reproduce themselves. You have a shrub, you have snow, the snow bends over a branch and it gets stuck under a pile of leaves, and then the tip grows. Okay? So any plant that you see exhibiting that particular growth pattern will start easy from cuttings. Another trick is to look for these little guys called lenticels. These are on the bark, so I'm pointing to one right here. Can you zoom in as much as you can, hon? Is it zoomed in?
Yeah.
Okay. If you look, you have these little white spots. Those are called lenticels. Those are little bundles of undifferentiated, you can zoom back out, of undifferentiated plant tissue that act a lot like stem cells do in animals. Okay? Not exactly the same, but they're similar in concept anyway, at least similar enough in concept for this conversation. So anytime you see a plant, a shrub, that has really prominent, abundant lenticels, that means it has really abundant pockets of stem cells which can easily become roots. And they tend to root very easily. Okay? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stick, and do keep these things in water while you're doing this. And I have a little bit of rooting hormone. Okay? This is just a little bit of an aid to help it root a little easier. I'm going to cut a section, dip it in the rooting hormone, make a little hole with my finger so I don't brush all of the rooting hormone off, and stick it in my dirt. And that's it. Okay? That's literally all there is to it. My cuttings I'm going to keep about, 6-ish inches long. Back into the water, into the rooting hormone, dip, and stick. Now, if you can't find rooting hormone, you don't absolutely need it. You will never have 100% success on rooting cuttings. If you have a plant that roots easily, remember a lot of these shrubs, they just root in nature. Doesn't get much easier than that. Okay? So, anytime you have these plants that root easily, you will have some success without the rooting hormone. So don't let it stop you if you can't find that particular material. Still try this. Plant a bunch, some will root. But if you can find the rooting hormone, you will have a higher success rate than without it. Okay? So, since this is a perennial in our climate, it has not come from a different area. It is in tune with its own seasonality. It's not going to sprout before its time. You can go ahead and scratch that gardening itch by rooting some cuttings from your spring shrubs. And you won't do any harm to anything. And you won't be mad at yourself because you jumped the gun with a pack of tomato seeds. Okay? So, I would encourage you to do this. Go out, have fun propagating. There is literally nothing to it but what I'm doing. If it gets really cold outside, I will probably, bring these in when they're young and tender. But it shouldn't be a problem because, again, they're not disconnected from seasonality. This is not a batch of plants that I purchased in Virginia and were shipped up here to New York that are a month or two ahead of time, ahead of schedule. So, you'll be fine doing some of this early on when you want to do something on those beautiful spring days, but you really shouldn't do too much with the pack of seeds. So, have fun, have a wonderful time. Give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying it, and if you're curious, check out the trough and the other video series. Till next time, have a wonderful day.